Awesome. Hey guys, Jim Chester here, Chiro Hustle live stream here at Mile High Chiropractic number 6. I have Bruce Steinberg here with me. He is rocking and rolling the chiropractic profession in certain directions that I'm going to let him tell everybody about what he's up to. But I just want to say a quick thank you to Danny and Rochelle Knowles for putting on such an amazing event here. And this is your second time here, right?
Second time, yes. Last year was the first year. I was what would you call a Mile High virgin. It was great. But the first thing that I noticed was just the sense of family, the fellowship. I fell in love with this movement immediately. It was amazing.
So you had an opportunity to speak this year.
Yes.
What was that like?
Wow. It was an honor. Danny said, hey, listen, next year you're going on stage, and we're looking forward to just lighting it up. I said, no problem. Let's do this. So it was an honor to get up there last night. So
let's tell people a little bit about what you're doing in the chiropractic space and how you're helping the chiropractic profession with the information that you're either finding and now you're sharing.
Well, I look at chiropractors, they're sort of like diamonds. There's a lot of sides to them, many facets, if you will. And, you don't just have the clinical practice side, but you should have the where you're getting involved politically side. You should have the getting involved research side, teaching your community, teaching other chiropractors, and just becoming a well-rounded individual. So last night what I did was I shared a presentation talking about mental health, because it's a part of the profession that many people don't really know about. And we have a rich history going back almost 100 years ago where we had these sanitariums, these mental health hospitals. And what happened was they thrived for about 3 decades, and then they completely closed down. And so in the 70s, they started to resurface again, and then once again, it died down. So I wanted to bring awareness to this part of our history that we had such rich results helping people with anxiety, insanity, and depression. And where are we today? How come chiropractors not going out there talking to their communities about mental health conditions? Chiropractors feel comfortable talking about, the chronic ear infections, talking about, the migraines, the visceral things, the musculoskeletal things, but why not mental health? It's a part of the same exact conversation. So I said, hey, let's get on stage, let's share some golden nuggets, and let's drop some science on these people.
Yeah, and one of the things you were focusing on is how chiropractic is helping kids.
Oh, gosh. The kids are our future. And, I'm almost wondering if getting to the kids is even enough. I think we need to get to the pregnant female, the preconception care. But if you start to look at the statistics, our children are in big trouble. Like, everything is up. The asthma, the allergies, the food sensitivities, the autism, the ADHD. You go on and on. So what that means is what we've been doing as a society, it's not working. And I believe there's no better profession than chiropractic to actually reach the masses and say, hey, we have a solution that's safe, effective, and it's scientific.
And I know that the research is going towards more brain-based in chiropractic because the brain's the big part of the spine.
Yep, absolutely.
And why is it important for us to start focusing on the brain health of people in order to get them to understand the chiropractic benefit?
Well, like you said, you can't have the brain, not included in the nervous system. Okay, it's not that chiropractic is suddenly brain-based. Chiropractic has always been brain-based. That's the God's honest truth. If you start to look at some of the old work from Didi and BJ, like BJ used to call the spinal cord the brainal cord. He said, the spinal cord is literally, it's just an extension of the brain. It's like, that's cool, but the nervous system is to feed the brain information. It's to feed it input. So when the brain receives the information, it then determines, are we in a hostile place? Are we safe? And if not, that's when you see some of these changes. And it's happening to children. One of the things I mentioned last night is a new issue with Scientific American talking about how the immune system is the seventh sense. And I immediately stopped in my tracks. I said, wow, that's fascinating. And they're saying it's a sensory organ. I said to myself, how many chiropractors don't even realize that this immune system is something that we work with every single day, but we're not even talking about it in our practice? Big missing link, in my opinion.
Yeah, and something I've noticed, Bruce, is when people do get care, I've always heard that once you are sick, you shouldn't skip your chiropractic visit. You should definitely come in for your visit.
Yes. Well, my staff is actually trained that when a person calls, I don't think I can make it in today, I'm not feeling good, they say, you don't understand. Dr. Bruce wants you in even more because there's a link between the neurostructural system, the spine, and the immune system. And one of the easiest links is talking about the upper cervical spine, especially like at C1, C2, and how it connects to the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is the physical connection to the immune system. So I look at it like it's interconnected. So in other words, the minute the nervous system function goes down, by default, so does the immune. So when the person gets adjusted, nervous system function improves, and so does the immune side.
And that's just something that people might kind of overlook when it comes to this chiropractic profession, because I know the chiropractic profession's been smattered in the past of being like a big yellow page ad of come in for your car crashes, your slip and falls, your PI cases, your whatever it might be. And I think that what we're doing is we're redesigning the future of chiropractic to be more brain-based, to be more immune system driven, to be more the non-chiropractic cases, non-traditional chiropractic cases, which are all functionality.
Yeah, it's all science-based. It's interesting you say it that way, too, because there's been surveys where they ask adults, why do you go to a chiropractor? And you hear neck pain, back pain, sciatica, headaches, everything musculoskeletal. But what's ironic is when you survey the parents why they bring in children, musculoskeletal is one of them, but the others, chronic ear infections, immune deficiency. It's like, wait a minute. If one of the number one reasons children enter a chiropractic office is because we need to help them with their immune system, how come adults don't come in for the same exact reason? There's no difference. But it's all public perception, and we need to change that. And the best way of changing that is with education.
Yeah, and one of the things I've done when I've done all these screenings is I tell people it's easier to make healthy children than fix broken adults.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
And so many times I find that, when I'm scheduling like an individual, this is a gold nugget for you guys out there if you ever do chiropractic screenings. I always say, is this appointment for you or is it for anyone else in your family? So what I find myself doing is closing more families at that last juncture of the scheduling process instead of just scheduling that one person. Now they're like, well, what does it look like for me to bring my whole family in? Yeah. And now we're getting families under care instead of just settling for that one scheduled appointment.
It starts a dialogue.
It does. And then they're like, well, what can it do for my kid? And I'm like, well, what's going on? I'm like, well, fill out one of these quick health surveys for your kid, and we'll schedule you guys both in.
That's just brilliant, and it's that taking that one extra step, because that's what we need to do. We need to take that one extra step.
And if we just all keep showing up with high self-esteem and keep on towing the line with society, and we keep on telling the truth about what chiropractic is and what it isn't, and demystifying, because honestly, there's so many people that are confused. I don't have pain. I don't need a chiropractor.
We see that all the time, and I think the first step is showing some love, and show them that you care, and to speak that message with certainty. Because when you have that level of certainty, people, they lean in and say, okay, what does that person know that I don't know? And they want to know. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. Mm-hmm. If they really knew what we had to offer, they'd be kicking our doors down.
And I always tell people this also, Bruce, is this gives you the opportunity to build a relationship with a healthcare provider that's not going to give you drugs or surgery, that's going to be interested in your long-term health. And that's something that most people don't know how to grasp, is they don't have a relationship with somebody that gives them the idea of the big idea. Yeah. They don't have a relationship with somebody that tells them about, eating right, thinking right, staying active, and being good to themselves so they can be good to everyone around them. And all that starts with like a positive influence on the nervous system.
Absolutely. Yeah. There's a difference between not having symptoms and actually being optimally healthy. And sometimes people don't know what that difference is until we actually share it with them.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much, man, for sharing some of the things you talked about on stage last night. Absolutely. If somebody didn't make it to Mile High 6, why would you recommend them to come to Mile High 7?
Oh, my gosh. Number one, fellowship. I joke around, like when I left the practice a couple days ago, they said, where are you going? I said, I'm heading out to Denver, Colorado. They're like, where are you going? I'm like, well, I'm going to give a presentation. I go, but the real reason I'm going to go hang around some normal people, because when we're around, our tribe here, it's like, it feels like home, and it gives you that reinforcement. And honestly, it just refills that cup. And then you go back to your community, back to your office, and you're full throttle. You have that connection.
And before we jump off, so everybody else has a little bit of hope for themselves, Yep. How did your chiropractic speaking career start?
Oh, gosh. Well, this is where I got to give some love to Dr. Scott Garber, chiropractor in Massachusetts. He actually last year, it was 2 years ago at what we call Garber Fest, he said, hey, I want you to speak. I said, that's really cool because I've never had the opportunity before. He's like, all right, here's the deal. I'm going to give you one of the longest time slots, and you're going to be the first speaker of the whole weekend, so you need to set the tone. I was like, all right. So when Jen found out, she gave me one line of advice, and it was, don't suck. And from there, I guess it didn't suck because it's led to a number of different presentations. We've been in New Mexico, we've been, in South Carolina, so we're getting lots of opportunities. And hey, if you ask me to come, I'm going to show up. And actually, we're heading to Australia next year apparently, so
Awesome.
Looking forward to that. I'm going to give a little plug though too.
Let's see.
For the chiropractors that are looking for a little bit more help in terms
Show it up
of
there to the
breaking
screen.
down the science. Here you go. Chiro Nerds.
Give 'em a call.
.com. Yeah, go to our website. We're starting this company, Dr. Amy Haas and I, just to be able to give chiropractors the ability to break down science and research in a usable way in their own offices. And that way they can say, hey, you know what? Chiropractic is scientific and speak with certainty. So go to chironerds.com, check it out.
And the reason I asked Dr. Bruce to tell me how he got his career started, because I'm going to close out saying thank you, everybody, for watching our live stream today. But the real reason is because you're just one story away. Keep hustling. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you for being with us.